All right, good morning to you all. It's another beautiful Saturday morning. My name is Attah, and I welcome you to Keys and Strings, your radio music masterclass, right here on Sweet Melodies 94.3 FM. I'm so excited about today because Chris Appau is in the house again. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, Danny.
Yes, and I have with me Tony Motagbe. You're welcome, sir.
Thank you, sir.
All right, let's say a word of prayer. Father, we thank you for this morning. We give you all the glory and all the praise. We commit today's show in your hands. We pray, Lord, that you lead us, use us to be a blessing to as many that listen to us. In the mighty name of Jesus, we pray. Amen.
Amen. So
you just heard Attah by Minister Chris Appau featuring Joe Metal. Yeah, and you can join in the conversation on our WhatsApp platforms. So how you join is you go on Facebook, you search Keys and Strings, and then you find the links there. The links will take you right into the WhatsApp platforms. And there's a link there also where you can join our Telegram page. You can contribute to the show by sending us a message on 0279 100 600, 0279 100 600. You can send us WhatsApp on that same number, and just maybe later in the show we may open the phone line. So you save this number 0505 779710, 0505 779710. You're welcome again, gentlemen.
Thank you, Danny.
Thank you.
Yes, and we had a great time last week, and our listeners are very excited to know that Chris Appau, we're very excited to know that you were coming back, and here you are. And I believe that so many people were blessed by the discussions we had last week, and we've actually had a lot of follow-up messages all through the week. So we're going to try to continue discussing those fantastic, those amazing things that you were sharing with us. Now, I want you all to send your questions, okay?
Yeah.
Send your questions and your contributions early enough. Don't wait, because the time is never enough, all right? So we can get so lost in the conversation, in the discussion, that by the time we realize that we have to read your messages, it's the very last minute, all right? And then we have to round up and we can't read your messages. So please send your questions and your contributions early enough so that we can read them. Okay, so Minister Chris Appau.
Yes, sir.
I want us to continue talking about last week. We're really, blown away by the way your mind works, which I think is actually the right way that a Christian musician who serves in church that has a mind. It's important that we bring professionalism into church.
Yes.
I think one of the problems that we face, or one of the problems with church music, is people don't see, or people don't approach, their music ministry in church in the professional way. Mm-hmm. All right. The attitude is more like, oh, Charlie, we are just doing something in the house of God. Meanwhile, some of these people are professionals. They work in offices. Some of them are even human resource managers. They know how people should behave in an organization, but these same people give problems. These are people some people are bosses in their offices, and they approach their work, very professionally. But when it comes to church things, it's like, the attitude is a certain way. Mr. Chris.
Yes, sir.
What do you say about this professionalism, bringing professionalism into church? What do you say about this?
I think the first thing is for us to understand that when we talk about professionalism, we are talking about operating at the highest skill level possible.
Okay.
Let's set that precedence, because everything I will say will be in relation to this. In the fact that the issue of skill and operating at high levels of skill,
okay,
is not a foreign concept as far as the Bible is concerned.
Okay.
This is very biblical.
So insisting on skill is not being carnal.
No.
Okay.
Because it's biblical. I mean, after God asked for a temple to be built for him, when David decided to build a temple for the Lord, he was, no, let's even go back. That's too far away. Okay. When Noah was asked to build an ark, he was given exact specifications, okay, even to the cubits. When David was about to build the temple, even those who would go and cut trees were supposed to be skilled. Just cutting trees for us to build a temple, you had to be skilled. And then in everybody who was given an assignment in the building of the temple,
had to be skilled.
Had to be skilled in whatsoever he was doing. So the issue of doing things for God with skill is not a foreign concept. Is not the way people claim. If you focus on skill, then you are being carnal. I think you can do the things that we seemingly call spiritual in a very carnal way.
Okay.
In terms of the execution of your ministry. Because what makes something carnal or spiritual is not really about the thing that is being done, but the intent behind the thing that is being done.
Right.
What the motivation is, what the motive is. And so when we come to doing things for God, last week I remember ending by saying God deserves the best, and that should be our commitment as a music department. If we are taking decisions, the basis, I don't train my choir on the basis of the fact that I want the choir to become the best choir in Ghana, or I want the choir to become the best church choir there is in the world, or whatever.
Yeah.
Because realistically speaking, whatever it is you know to do, there's somebody who knows to do it better.
Yeah.
So if you become too competitive in the way you do your things, then you are setting up yourself for frustration.
Yeah.
Because you meet somebody who can do what you are doing 10 times over, and it creates problems for you. But the point here is our commitment as a music department in church must be to render to God the best that he deserves with the resource we have available.
Yeah. I like the way you keep stressing on with the resource, because I remember last week you mentioned it. I was going to, point at that, but I think with the resource that we have available.
Yeah.
So, meaning that you have to master and be able to work with the resource, the human resource, and the equipment that you have available. And that's what God expects you, because that's what he is giving you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And you see, when it comes to resource, there's an element of potential in resource that we have to understand. The fact that something is, or people are delivering at this level, doesn't mean they can't take what they are doing to the next level. And the big problem that I see with a lot of music departments in Ghana is it looks like realistically there's no plan. There's no vision and plan apart from rehearsing on Saturday, singing on Sunday, and that's it. I've spoken to music directors, and I asked them, okay, you have an annual concert. What's the motivation for the concert? And he says, nasa concert, you'll be a year concert.
We have to do a concert
every year. In the end, so I was here a year annual concert.
Yeah.
I look at him and I'm like, these people have it all wrong. What really is the plan? What plan are you working towards? So it is not enough to just say, okay, you go for a lot of choir rehearsals. People seemingly are doing vocal warm-ups, and they call it vocal training. And they are doing the exercises, and you are wondering what exactly the focus of the activity they are doing is. What is the plan? how do we intend to give God the best with the resource we have available? How can we harness the full potential of the resource that is available?
Yeah.
I have gone to work with a lot of choirs, and the church used to complain that the choir is not good, the choir is not singing well, the choir is this, the choir is that. And you get in there and you realize, there are about 4 or 5 people who are good. They can sing.
Yeah.
And if a good director was able to put them together and manage the resource well, you can still get good music out of them. So what we are talking about when we mention resource, I just want to shift people's minds from just what you have available to what you can get out of what you have available.
Yeah, because let me shift this in. Some people easily just get defeated in their minds that when they compare themselves with maybe another church. Okay. These people have all the good people, they have all these great singers there, they have all the fantastic equipment, instruments and sound equipment. So of course, it explains why they have good music. We are not so blessed. We just have these people who can sing, and we don't have good enough equipment. So that's why. But I like the fact that you are stressing on it, so if you are listening to us and you have that mind, it's mainly about the one in charge. Okay, and how you are able to manage the resources that you have. Yeah, just like Chris is saying.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is so key for me. In preparing today, I wrote something down. I said, to create an effective music ministry, it is a responsibility not only for the actors on the ground who are instrumentalists, musicians, but also certain key stakeholders, like 1, the church leadership, 2, department leadership, and then we come to the people on the ground. When it comes to managing resource, everything about a music department, permit me to say that every music department is a reflection of the ideologies of the leader of the department.
Yeah.
Every music department is a reflection of the ideologies of whoever is in charge. So if you look at something and you don't like what you see, your first point of assessment
should be the leader
should not be who to blame. I'm even talking to the leaders of departments, like music directors, music pastors, pastors of churches who look at their choirs and don't really like what they hear from Sunday to Sunday. The first question you must ask yourself is, how am I contributing to this as a leader?
Yeah.
Because there are certain decisions that are taken that also suggest things to singers. Let me give you a typical example. I went to work with a choir, and I am the type who really stresses on things being done a certain way. If it has to be done, it has to be done right, and we will be at the rehearsal till we get it
works,
right.
Yes.
Now, there's a music director for the department because I'm an external consultant. And he comes in, and week after week, after I sit on a choir and band to learn the songs as they are and deliver at a certain level, he will come, and he's not learned his lyrics well. His arrangement is not well suited with the song. And then he throws the whole song up and down and says he was led by the Spirit. Now, if you come up in a department like that, it is possible you will grow musically, and in your mind, to be led by the Spirit means you can't follow arrangements.
Yeah.
To be led by the Spirit means you can sing any way you feel.
Yeah.
Because automatically now your feelings have become the Spirit.
Yeah.
So if you work under a leader like that, your singers will come up a certain way. And so you will sit down on a day when you are not performing and wonder why they are delivering
the way they are.
And if you are not true to yourself, you will go and blame other factors and not realize that the number one problem is the kind of leadership there is.
Yeah.
What is the ideology? Sorry. What really is the ideology? What is the plan? What is the vision? And then on vision, let me say this. If we admire choirs like Potter's House Mass Choir, Brooklyn Tabernacle Church Choir, Hillsong, and everything, just admiring them and suggesting them to your choir is not enough to get them there. We must examine what systems are there. What are they doing that is making them perform at this level? What exactly will make us achieve this? And then import that, edit it to suit your system, and work with it.
Let me chip this in. I like what you said something a little earlier. Talking about the same thing, about the involvement of course, starting from the head pastor.
Yes, the church leadership. And then to even the leader. And then you said something about certain decisions that are taken. Yeah.
Also gives the choristers clues, or the music team clues.
Exactly.
All right. What are some of those decisions?
Now
I want us to
give examples.
Yeah, I want us to, because how good a church choir is. Of course, we said it has to do with the ideas of course, we can talk about the choir leader first, but it's to a larger extent the church leadership is the main.
That's what I'm saying. When you talk about church music, the stakeholders of the music department are the church leadership, most importantly. Even before we come to the leadership of the department itself, then we come to the actors on the ground. Before we come to the audience. These are the four main stakeholders when it comes to church music. Now, building up from what we discussed last week about the mandate and the message of a church. That mandate and message does not come musically. It comes as an assignment statement. Please, let's get this one very right.
Okay.
That mandate doesn't come in a form of music unless the pastor of the church is a musician.
Yeah.
Reason is this. I am a musician. When God is giving me a message, there are 9 out of 10 times that I'll hear it musically and write it down. Sometimes I'll even get the melody before the message of the song itself comes. Because I am a musician. If you are not a musician and you're a preacher, you can still get songs. But when it comes to managing music ministry, you need a firm balance of understanding the ministry itself, not just in theory, but in practice. And then understanding the ministry bit, both the music bit and the ministry bit, in practical terms.
Yeah.
If any of these areas is lacking, it will affect the department. And especially if you are in Africa or you are in Ghana, nobody can tell you, but you run your department down yourself. And that's the truth of the matter. I was going to give you let me give you an example.
Give the example. I was going to say that, don't forget the example.
I worked with a church.
Okay.
And I was there for about a number of years. And I used to wonder why no music director was able to stay in the church for more than, let's say, 3 years. Then I realized it was the case where there was a certain sect in the choir who would sort of be the team to vet any music director who came as good as he was, and if they didn't like the person for whatever reason it was, they would go straight to the general overseer or the pastor of the church and express their displeasure, and that displeasure becomes a reference for the pastor of the church to talk to his music director as to how to run the department. Now, how do you offer leadership in a department you are not running? Because clearly, in this scenario, he's not the one taking the decision.
It's a group,
And there are instances where people told their music directors, don't worry, by the time I talk to Pastor, this your decision will change. So I happened to be called to do a retreat with them. And I spoke with the pastor and said, well, before I can take this retreat, I would like to address this issue because I think that's the problem with the department. Then he looks at me and says, I understand what you're talking about, but many people have left this choir, and these are the people who stayed with us. So if I don't listen to them and they get angry and also leave,
then we will not have a choir.
Then we won't have a choir. Then I looked at him and said, Pastor, but if you are telling me many people have left, and these are the ones who are left, doesn't it presuppose to you that maybe you are scattering the 99 to go and look for one? I asked him in very plain terms, because it is possible that because of this sect that you are defending, other people feel, well, this choir is not serious about what they want to do. So let's go. And of this sect I'm talking about, you are talking about people who are not even well versed in the understanding of music ministry itself. None of them can stand as a skillful singer or player. None of them even has it imported into the way they do their things. And that becomes a major problem when the person making decisions is not, and these are some of the things people talk about when they talk about church music politics. I've worked in many churches, and I have never given somebody a lead role to lead the choir because you are the pastor's son or you are the pastor's daughter and you can't sing the song, you won't sing. It just won't happen. So really, when we look at the system, I'll just give you a typical example, and there are many examples like this, where the director himself is not fully at the helm of affairs, because the politics of the church empowers a certain group of people more than the director. So you go into the system and realize nobody is actually running the music department, because today this person says this, then pastor comes in and says, okay, do it like this. Then tomorrow another person says this, and pastor comes in and says, okay, do it like this.
So that means that for a director to be effective, he needs to be empowered.
Yes.
By the church leadership.
Yes.
That you are in charge, and that way they're able to really take decisions. And and I want us to look at clear, practical things that church leadership should, things that we can suggest, based on experience, things that we've seen, things we can suggest to church leadership to do that will make their music ministry work. Because you said that if your music ministry, your music team, your music ministry is not working in certain ways, you are not impressed, you are not happy with it, you have to, instead of just going ahead to blame the team, maybe as a pastor, you should also consider or think, and see if you're actually involved in the team, involved in the progress, or whether you make any investments. Of course, I mean, you preach to them and all of that. But is there a hands-on? I have seen church choirs that do well, and usually when you go into it, you see that the pastor of the church is hands-on, not necessarily teaching songs, but you see that they are involved in, the well-being of, number one, the choristers themselves. There's a certain shepherdorial oversight and interest in their lives.
Which is really important.
Yes, and then also the music, the type of songs they do, encouraging them, having frequent meetings with them and talking to them and all that. So I want us to go into that, clearly stating out some things that church leadership, talking about main pastors, should do to really encourage their choirs to do well, rather than watching them from afar and expecting them to. Yes.
So number one, assessment of yourself as a pastor. Are you musical enough to oversee the department 360, or you will need help? That's number one. The reason why I'm saying this is we have to assess things properly personally first. Then we can determine the best way to assist the department or to get them where we want them to get. Now, my reference last week was from the book of Chronicles, where David is appointing musicians. Now, the first point to consider is this is King David himself. He's a musician himself. He's a practicing musician. So he knows the music. He himself was a skilled musician and can tell who a skilled musician is.
Yeah.
If you assess yourself and realize, in terms of the ministry, offering pastoral shepherding support, that one, I mean, every pastor has it.
Yeah.
Nobody will have the interest of members at heart more than the pastor of the church. That is settled.
Or at least nobody should have.
Yes. But then, on the side of the music, if you are not very strong there, then the decisions and the management of the music should be handed to somebody.
Of course, you still must have a certain type of oversight.
Oh yes, definitely. So over there, it is handed to somebody who is graced in instructing about the music. That's number one. Then number two, that I will suggest for church leaders is for us to have and make very plain a vision for the choir. Communicate it, make it very plain, so everybody knows what we want to achieve in 2 years, in 3 years, in 5 years, whichever time frame you give. Okay, this is what you guys should achieve. This is what I'm looking at for the church, and this is where we want to go. Number 3, let us invest in our human resource.
That's important.
I was listening to a documentary. Okay, it was an interview, Koza in Nigeria. And they were talking about the fact that there's a choir in Koza called the Gratitude. And the Gratitude can stand.
Who sang with J.J. Heston.
Yes, they did Reckless Love with J.J. Heston.
Yeah.
And that rehearsal, that whole production was a 2-week rehearsal.
Wow.
The whole concert they did with J.J. Heston, it was done in 2 weeks.
That's impressive.
Wow. that a choir of that caliber, and they are a church choir, they are basically a church choir. But what the church decided to do was to invest in them. So they went as far as bringing in people like Ty Trebet, bringing in people like Tim Godfrey, bringing in world-class musicians, music directors, trainers to come and train with the people. So at the end of the day, they can improve the human resource. And this is not just about singers. Instrumentalists are involved. Sound engineers, Ghanaian sound engineers need a lot of training. We need a lot of training.
That's very true.
On the equipment we are using, on the systems we are managing. I think in a lot of places we are underutilizing the systems that we have available. Because yes, so I mean, investing in the human resource is big. I think practically we should be able to buy DVDs. I mean, worship team training DVDs. Don Moen has a lot of them. Hillsong has a lot of them. Ron Kinoli has a series on that. Paul Baloch and some of these world-class worship leaders. We must invest in the human resource. And these things, there's an expensive way to do it, and there's an inexpensive way to do it. I'm not saying by force everybody should go and look for
Ty Tribbett
or Don Moen or
fly him down.
But even here in Ghana, there are powerful worship leaders who we can bring in to empower our worship teams. There are musicians in Ghana who record for artists all over the world. There are instrumentalists in Ghana who play for artists all over the world. There are producers in Ghana who play and produce for artists all over the world. So if you can't afford to bring an international act, I mean, when it comes to sound engineering, the first time I sat and listened to Sami Helwani explain something about room acoustics, I looked at the man and I was like, okay, I've watched international sound engineers talk. The only difference is the way they talk and the way we talk. But the substance of what is being taught, this man is delivering everything I would have looked for. And there are equally good people like that in the system. But the point is, are we committed to this? Is it a commitment? Or we just sit down and say, that's for the big churches, it's the big churches who can do this, and we haven't gotten there. And
because actually anything you invest in works.
Exactly.
Whatever investment you put in it, you see that it's like working a piece of land. If you plant it, you water it, you take care of it, it grows, and you're able to.
Because you see, for every problem we face, there's a short-term solution and a long-term solution. I had this chat with a pastor, I think a few days to 31st night, when there was shortage of instrumentalists. And he called and wanted a keyboard player for his church. So I asked him, I said, so all year, how have services been? Then he said, we have a keyboard, but nobody plays. But we just felt that
today
on 31st night,
a special service.
I said, but if you had a keyboard, then you had one whole year to prepare somebody to play this keyboard on 31st night. So why are we looking for a keyboardist
last minute?
Like 3 days to 31st night. Because I know people who learn to play the keyboard in 6 months, in 8 months. I mean, they won't become pros.
But at least he
can
hold the service.
Start to finish.
So, I mean, that's what I'm saying. For many of the problems, because currently, church music is facing a problem in the area of having committed people and hirelings. People who are just hired, to come and do their work and
go.
So he will come on days he has agreed with the church. You won't see him in a weekday service that is not on his agreement and that kind of thing. And it's a big problem for church music, because where I was raised, I mean, whether you are playing or not, you'll be there in the weekday service. Bible study is a part of Christian life.
Yeah.
If I wasn't an instrumentalist, I would still read my Bible.
Study,
I would still do Bible study. I would still do prayer meeting. I would still do some of these things.
Yeah.
So we are better off if we plan and train people on the inside who are showing commitment to do some of these things. And there are churches who have taken some of these stances. By the grace of God, last year I was put on a board to do some training for the Church of Pentecost. And what they are doing is they've decided to train all their instrumentalists. So they found people in the industry who are good keyboard players, drummers, and have a knowledge of music theory, and put us in a team with sound engineers and all. Some are even professors, music professors from music schools and all, to train the instrumentalists and singers for the Church of Pentecost. And they zoned them and selected people and brought to the music department of the Pentecost Theological Seminary.
I see.
And we've been running a training for them since last year. It's just the coronavirus. No, it's been 2 years. It's just the coronavirus last year that slowed things down a bit. But that's a decision that the Church of Pentecost has taken. And for most of the zones that were able to come for the training, the testimonies of change in church are serious. So I mean, if I would make a suggestion to church leaders, investing in the human resource is the biggest thing I'll say. Investing in the human resource, and then focusing on building a system that will work in the long term. Focusing on a system that will work in the long term. Those are my biggest thoughts.
Yeah, it's very, very important that you are interested in the development of your music team.
Yeah.
Because whatever output you are getting is as much as they know. It's like how much they know. That's what they are delivering.
Yeah.
All right. So you can see other, church, like the Koza choir.
Yeah.
What's the name again?
Gratitude, yes.
So much investment has been made in them. So much money has been spent to train them. And we see the results. We see a church choir that is just a church choir. It's not like a team of professionals that have been selected like Joyous Celebration.
No.
Okay, this is just a church choir, and they are doing amazing things. And I'm sure that churches like Hillsong and Brooklyn Tabernacle, I don't know if the church is Brooklyn Tabernacle Church, I don't know, but Brooklyn Tabernacle Choir, that amount of investment is also made in them.
Yes.
So what we're trying to say is, it's important that you invest in your team. Yes, we know that you invest you invest in them spiritually. You preach to them, you teach them the word of God, but they are musicians. So if you are not happy with the output you are getting, you hire somebody, a resource person, to come in from time to time, have a structure like you said.
Yes.
Church of Pentecost is doing, and have them to train your people, talk
and
to them,
monitor progress.
Yes,
over time. It's key that we are not just training, but we are monitoring progress. So there's a vision, there's a plan, and we are monitoring to see that, okay, whatever it is that we are investing is actually bearing the fruits that we want to see. If somebody, and you see, I'm a huge fan of this. Jebi made a funny comment in a video I saw yesterday, and I've been saying it everywhere I go. If I direct a choir, a year later, I don't expect any of the singers to be singing the same way they were singing. And it should be our commitment that we will grow our teams with time, and we will monitor the progress. If somebody is singing, we should have stories of people increasing in skill over time. You were operating at this level of skill when you joined. By this level, you should improve. Because mind you, I said it last week, that the only serious problem with being involved in church music ministry, the only serious problem which will make me consider asking you to sit down as a music director, is if you can't sing on key and you can't sing on time. That one is a serious problem. But if you can sing on key and you can sing on time, and it is just vocal training that you need, then we must be able to commit our singers, not just singers, instrumentalists, sound engineers, to keep improving themselves over time. I don't expect my sound engineer to be in the same skill level he was next year from this year.
We should do a whole series on sound. Yes. So listeners, watch out for that. That's going to come. Our time is almost up. One or two comments here. This one says, great show. God bless you folks. Minister Appau, please, how musical enough is musical enough? I don't know. I think this was earlier. I think when you're talking about, when you're asking if, okay, well, there's a continuation. It says, let's say the leader has talent, into bracket, raw talent. What music training can the church leadership consider getting him or her to have, to equip for better leadership of the choir? I don't know if that's clear.
So we are talking about the music director. Well, there are schools that train music directors. The Pentecost Theological Seminary has a course for music directing. I don't know about the School of Music in Legon and in Winneba, but I know there are courses music directors can do. There are even online courses for music directors. Yes, there are online courses for music directing. So if you are seeking to improve your church music director, look for a course for him to do either online or around you. That's number one. And then find a music director who is in the field and a pro at what he does, and get your music director to understudy him, either to bring him to the church to come and have trainings with your people, or your music director understudies him, and then that should get him to.
Okay, let me read this one. This one says, God bless you guys. You are doing a great job. What do you do as a pastor when your people will not submit to leadership? Because I've tried several times to train them, get resource persons who have come in and gone, but I see very little improvement.
In a lot of those cases that I've seen, the problem must be analyzed. The problem must be analyzed either on I am thinking this is a case where the pastor is more passionate about the group's development than the group themselves.
Okay, yeah. So he is more.
That
wants
looks,
them to
that
improve,
looks like
they don't want to.
And you remember I spoke about working.
That can be very frustrating.
Yes, it can. It can. So what you do is, that's what I'm saying. Well, if it was my church, in my setting, what I would do is to re-audition, do an orientation across board. I mean, if they won't come on a Saturday, we'll do it Sunday after church, when everybody is around.
You told us a story after the show.
Yes,
last time about choir. That
yes. I happened to work with a choir. They actually voted me into directorship.
Okay,
they had to vote me in as director, and I came in on their votes. and then 3 weeks after I got voted, I dissolved the choir. Because I got there for 3 weeks, and for every one of the 3 weeks, the group was totally unserious.
I'm
talking about coming for rehearsal 2 hours late. The earliest person appears 2 hours late, and everybody comes. So you are starting the rehearsal 3 hours late. Wow. And by 45 minutes, everybody is looking at their watch and telling you they have to go.
I think that based on the things we are discussing, you look at your team. Maybe you're a pastor. You should be bold enough. I don't know if I should use the word, because sometimes, for pastors, it's not easy getting church members. For you to get people to be committed and to be faithful at the thing. So it's almost like at least you have some people who are doing their best. So it's like doing such radical, things. Okay, sometimes the fear is that they may be offended and they may leave. They may. And all of that. So you kind of like want to just manage and keep talking to them and just hoping that things will change. But you see, if you want a radical change, you have to So the thing of dissolving the choir in my church, my pastor has dissolved groups, especially several times. It's like, you are dissolved. There's no more this group. And then sometimes after a while, they are brought back, and you see that when you are brought back, it's like there's a
solution alone does not solve the problem if it is not part of a process.
Yeah, of course, yes, it's a process. I mean, there are meetings, and so by the time we come by, it's like new energy, new attitudes, and all of that. Yeah,
yes. So I don't think we need to shy away from, and I seriously believe that we must come off this thing of not wanting people to get angry. As against what we are supposed to do.
Yeah. And letting God have the best. Because, Lord, attitudes and bad, negative attitudes towards the work can really frustrate the work.
Yes.
Unfortunately, our time is up. And we have to go. We have 1 minute. So listen, thank you very much for listening. And we hope that all the things we've discussed, these are very, very hard, straight to the point, like right on, hitting the nail on the head. I believe that, and I hope that it's been helpful to you. We encourage you to be a strong leader and take certain decisions that you need to take as a pastor. And if you're a choir leader and you feel really strongly that, listen, these things, I want to practice them and eliminate certain negative attitudes, speak to your pastor about it. And I believe your pastor has the same mind of having a team that is effective, because we've been talking about building an effective worship music ministry, and I believe your pastor also wants to have an effective music ministry. So we encourage you, speak to your pastor about it. Let him have a meeting with the team, dissolve the team, and have auditions. Okay, so you come and sometimes even write a letter, apply, and join, and tell us why you want to join the team.
Putting people in trouble.
Yes, tell us why you want to join the team.
And then after that, you orient.
Yes. Take them through, some period of training, and try and really cast out that type of attitude. And it, maybe send people. Don't even invite them to join, because for a leader, you can tell that send elements in the choir. Bible says, cast out the scorner and contentions will cease.
Yeah.
All right. So it's okay sometimes to sack people. Maybe not sack them from the church, of course. Do it in a way that it will not be for them not to leave the church, but nicely advise them to join another ministry or something. And God deserves the best. And negative attitudes spoil the thing. Thank you very much, Minister Chris Appau, for coming to be a blessing to us. You are definitely going to come back again. We're going to have you here the whole of February, but you told us you're traveling. So we wish you a safe trip, and back when you come back, we'll plan something and we'll do a whole series for sound engineers also. Thank you very much, Tony. You've been a very quiet listener today.
Yeah.
And God bless you all, and have a fantastic weekend. Bye-bye. Sorry, I know I signed off, but I just want to say that the video of today's show is going to be on our YouTube page, Attah Music. So from tomorrow, you can go there, probably download it or watch it, and let it be a blessing to you. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.